I used to believe love meant patience, that if you held on long enough, people would come back to who they used to be. I learned the hard way that sometimes they never do. Emily wasn't just beautiful, she was magnetic. The kind of woman who made the air change when she walked into a room. The first time I saw her, she was working at a cafe near my office, calling everyone hun like we'd all known her for years. She had that wild, untamed laughter that made life feel like something you needed to chase just to keep up. For the first 2 years, we were inseparable. She'd make burnt pancakes on Sunday mornings, sing out of tune in the shower, and still somehow make it sound like music. When I proposed to her on a windy beach, she cried and said, "You're the only man who ever made me feel safe." I believed her. We moved in together, started planning a wedding, and for a while, I thought we were building a future. I worked in finance, stable hours, good money. She worked part-time at a boutique while figuring out her passion. I didn't mind. I liked providing. But right after her 27th birthday, something in her shifted. It began with little complaints. "You never want to go out anymore. You've gotten so boring." At first, I tried to fix it. I planned date nights, bought her flowers, took her on surprise weekend trips. She smiled politely, the kind of smile you give a stranger on an elevator, and spent half the time scrolling through her phone. Then came the new friends. Younger, wild, live-in-the-moment types. Suddenly, every Friday was girls' night, and every Saturday morning came with excuses. The night she came home at 3 a.m., smelling like tequila and someone else's cologne, something inside me cracked. "I lost track of time," she said, slipping out of her heels. "You don't have to wait up for me, you know." That was the moment I realized respect doesn't vanish all at once. It leaks away in tiny moments like that. A week later, she wanted to go clubbing with her friends. "Come on," she said, wrapping her arms around my neck. "You never go out. Let's do something spontaneous." I didn't want to. Clubs weren't my thing. But saying no felt like handing her another reason to call me boring. So I agreed. The night of the party, she came out wearing a glittering silver dress I'd never seen before. "You like it?" she asked, twirling. "It's a lot," I admitted. She smirked. "Exactly." At the club, everything felt wrong from the start. The bass shook the floor, lights flashed like lightning, and her friends barely acknowledged me. Emily disappeared into their circle before I could even find a seat. I sat alone, drink in hand, trying to pretend I wasn't watching her dance like she'd forgotten who she came with. A guy approached her, tall, confident, the kind who knows he can get away with anything in the dark. He said something that made her laugh, and she leaned closer, touching his arm. I waited for her to pull away, to remember her fiancé was 10 feet away. She didn't. When I finally walked up and put my hand on her shoulder, she blinked, startled. "Relax, babe," she said, laughing. "We're just talking." The guy smirked at me, raised his glass, and disappeared into the crowd. The rest of the night, she kept going, cheering for the DJ, dancing like she was trying to prove something. When I told her to tone it down, she rolled her eyes. "Oh my God, don't start." "I'm not starting anything," I said calmly. "But you're crossing a line." That's when she said it, loud enough for the music to dip around her words. "You're not my father. You don't get to tell me what to do." It was like the music stopped just for her. People turned. Her friends went silent. I didn't shout. I didn't argue. I just looked at her, really looked, and realized I didn't know this woman anymore. "You're right," I said quietly. "I don't." And I walked out. Outside, the night was cold. I sat in the car, hands on the steering wheel, feeling nothing but calm. No anger, no heartbreak, just clarity. I drove home alone. By the time I got there, I'd already made my decision. I started packing her things: shoes, makeup, perfume bottles, the little framed photo of us she'd called our forever. I left everything neatly stacked by the door with a note on top: "You're right, I'm not your father, but I'm also not your safety net." When she came home at dawn, still drunk, she found the boxes. I stayed quiet in the bedroom, listening as she gasped, then muttered to herself, "This is insane." A pause, the sound of paper rustling. "You can't just do this, Mark," she shouted. "You're acting like a child." I stepped out of the bedroom, calm as ever. "Go to sleep, Emily. You're drunk." She shook her head, mascara streaked down her face. "It was just a joke. Everyone flirts at clubs." "Then I guess you should find someone who thinks that's harmless," I said. For the first time in our entire relationship, she didn't have a comeback. She left that night, slamming the door behind her. And for the first time in months, I slept peacefully. The internet did the rest. Someone had filmed her outburst at the club, her yelling, "You're not my father!" The video spread like wildfire. Within a week, her friends turned the whole thing into a meme. Her attempt to paint herself as empowered crumbled under the laughter of strangers. She called, texted, begged. Her mother called next, trying to understand. I told her the truth. By the end of that conversation, even her mom sounded tired. Emily moved back home. She lost her job at the boutique. Budget cuts, they said. I didn't gloat. I didn't post anything. I stayed silent. Months passed. I moved on, started seeing someone new. Someone who didn't need to be the center of every room to feel loved. Someone who understood quiet wasn't boring, it was peace. One afternoon, I ran into Emily at a cafe. She looked smaller, somehow, like the noise had finally left her and she didn't know how to live without it. "I just wanted to say, I'm sorry," she said softly. "I didn't realize what I was losing." "You were free to do what you wanted," I said, "and I was free to leave." She swallowed hard. "Are you seeing someone?" "Yeah," I said simply. Her lips trembled. "She's lucky." "Maybe," I replied, "but she earned it." We didn't speak again after that. A year later, I stood in front of someone else, my bride, as she walked down the aisle toward me. The garden was quiet, glowing in the golden light of evening. As I turned to take her hands, I caught a glimpse of Emily in the crowd. Uninvited, but there all the same. Her smile was small, brittle, the kind people wear when they're pretending they're fine. Our eyes met for a second. She looked away first. When the music started again, I let her fade into the background. Just another face in a story that no longer mattered. Because sometimes the real ending isn't revenge or anger, it's peace. The kind of peace that comes when you realize walking away was the loudest thing you ever did.